Hello, Josie from proGutcare Detox Centre. How are we all today? Now, we're going to be talking about the gut and our colonics actually, and how a colonics is performed. So having a colonics is generally looking after and cleansing the large intestine and the bowel area. People don't know what a colonics is. It's actually bowel washing. So it all starts with your digestive system. So when we start to eat food, we start chewing, we activate a saliva, and that saliva is called bolus. What happens is that breaks it down and then takes it down through the esophagus area here, which then ends up in your stomach. And in your stomach, we have hydrochloric acid and peptides. What happens there is that the stomach works like a washing machine. It's called a reggae, and it helps break down that food and turns it into a liquid form. So it can go through the duodenum area here, and then what happens in this duodenum area is actually where the gallbladder and the pancreas come in and alkaline that before it hits the small intestine. So that's its main job when you go through this area here, and it's also where we get bicarbs is made up as well. So in this area here, it comes down into the duodenum area, and the duodenum is this little filtering system here. Now, if you were to look at it, and to touch it, you would get blood on your finger, but it doesn't actually bleed. So that job is to absorb all the nutrients out of all the food that we eat. And then it puts it through a filtration system, and then it gets absorbed in the body. So what happens then with the waste, or not the waste, but the stuff that it doesn't need, goes up this blue mesenteric system, up the portal and into your liver. And in the liver there, it's where it will sit and store and then filter that and send it off to all the other organs. So once it gets through the small intestine, it then comes through this ileocecal valve here, and that's the leftover waste and liquid form. Goes through there, enters into the cecum area of the large intestine. You can see our appendix just down there, and then it travels up the ascending and then into the transfer, and then down the descending through the cecum and then out your rectum. So it's not until it's in this area here that we actually start to hydrate our body through this transfer area here. So with hydration, what happens is very much the same. We then drink water, goes through our stomach, in through the duodenum, into the small intestine, and then in this area here of the transfer colon. So as I said before there, this is where we actually hydrate from, in this transfer area here. So our bowel is like a big muscle. Now, when we're not drinking enough water, that bowel is going to be having to get some nutrients and some liquid from somewhere. So it's actually going to start squeezing the stool, and then we're going to actually be absorbing that again through the mesenteric system, up the portal and into the liver. Now, this can be quite toxic if we don't actually drink enough water. And then what that means is we're essentially drinking poo water. And who wants to drink poo water? We start to smell, we get skin problems, we get all sorts of stuff when we're not staying hydrated. So roughly, to stay hydrated, it is around the 2 to 3 litres of water for most people. So if you wanted to work that out in an equation, for every 22 kilos, it's 1 litre of water. So you work the math out as to your weight. Every 22 kilos, 1 litre of water. So if you're a larger person, you might need 4 litres of water to keep yourself hydrated. Okay, so then what happens is, like water, as it comes through the digestive system and in through the bowel, what we do as a colonics, we actually stick a speculum in the rectum just here, and then what we do is we push forward, we push water through, put water through and up into the large intestine, nice and slow, and also nice at a body temperature. So that water then is going through, and then what happens is it allows the stools to start to soak and absorb that moisture in that water, and then it starts to come away from the bowel wall when we haven't, if we find ourselves constipated. So having the water makes that soften, and then we're able to start chipping away at all the old stools that have been sitting in your bowel for many, many years. This one here, we have a diseased bowel, and it doesn't look very good at all. So we've got all sorts of dramas going here. We've got some gas, we've got diverticulitis, we've got stones in our gallbladder, we've got a fatty liver, we've got plaque build up on the bowel wall, just like we have plaque build up on our teeth, on our gums. If you don't brush your teeth, you start to get this furriness in your gums, and you get this plaque build up in your gums and around your teeth. This is what happens to the bowel. When we don't drink enough water, and when we don't actually look after ourselves, we then can start to create diseases. Now, we don't diagnose diseases, but what we can do is help with constipation. We can also help with plaque buildup or candida, parasites, and what we do is we just chip away at all that stuff that starts to come away off the large intestine, and that's how we can start to get fresh cells, fresh blood running back into the large intestine, which then will give you a boost of energy as well. And it also keeps you very hydrated, and it's a good way to hydrate your body through having a colonics. So that's a little bit of information about having a colonics. Okay, thank you.